Quite a crowd here today. Wow. Yeah. Biggest of ever. Biggest crowd ever, right? Shlomo Melech says, King Solomon, Eishes Chayil Miyimtza. Who can find an Eishes Chayil? A woman of Chayil. What does Chayil mean? They translate the woman of valor. I don't know what valor means exactly. Chayil means strength. It says in the parasha yesterday, Chayil. Who can find a woman of strength, spiritual strength? Who can find? What is the spiritual strength? It says later in Eif's Chayil. Pia Pascha B'Chachma. That a woman who was searching for wisdom of Torah to grow in the values of Torah, that is a woman of strength, spiritual strength. Who could find? I found him right over here. We found him. Not so easy to find women to go away, get off the world for a few days. The world of competition, the world of pursuit of desires, the world of confusion. To get away from it all, you come to Hashem's country, take a look at Hashem's creations, to get inspired, to come to the world of truth, the world of values, the world of Hashem's Ratzon, His will. Not so many people willing to do that, to leave the comforts of their home, leave their families, and come to search for higher values. Torah thought, Torah life, very special. As also Yisrael, father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu, left his home, which he had great honor and riches, and came to the Midbar, to the desert, to hear the words of Torah, that Hashem considers very, very important. And he certainly looks at everybody that came here with great love and feeling closeness for those who are willing to do what you're doing. Get closer to him, you get closer to you, to us. And I understand everybody asks about it. They say things went wonderfully here over Shabbos, people connecting, especially since challenges were in the way of normal operations, water shortage. Things worked out very nicely. People took it in stride. It made even closer connections. People helping each other. It's really very special, very special. And naturally we have to thank all those who are in front of the scenes, behind the scenes, all the Torah coordinators that came, and the ones who are here now taking care, that are putting all the countries into making it like it should be, that were here, that are here. We thank them very much for all their input, and certainly Hashem, Yisham Sharm, Kafel B'chupel. So, and everybody came and showed their interest and their excitement and their love for Torah life. Hashem certainly will. The amount of Shas in the Torah, Hashem will give everybody their needs, what they'd like to have, nachas, zon, Bruchnis, Gashmis, everything Hashem should acknowledge Hashem Shas from the TorahMates. I'm supposed to have some questions. I will say that myself.
Okay, if anyone has any question on Judaism that is not a question of halacha or Jewish law, Rabbi Mintz will answer. I also just want to say that during the year, I and many other people have the privilege of going to Torah Spot on Tuesday nights in Staten Island, where Rabbi Mintz gives a class, followed by an Ask the Rabbi every week. Now, even if you don't live in Staten Island or live near Staten Island, it's live streamed, so you can watch it every Tuesday night on Oorah.org. And if you ever have any question, you can email asktherabbi@Oorah.org and tune in live to watch Rabbi Mintz answer the question. So if anyone has any questions, you can raise their hand. Please say your name and where you're from.
Good morning, Rabbi. Lord Feld, Book of Ben Shva. I'm Sharon Kessel. I'm from West Orange, New Jersey, and I'm curious to know about the history of Oorah. What made you start it? How did you start it? And I'm grateful to you for starting it. And Hashem.
Okay, the question is, how did Rabbi Mintz start the organization of Oorah?
Well, it's nothing that exciting. It started with a sort of a bet that I had with some Talmidim, not to get too lengthy about it, that I was studying with them a certain sefer, and it came to a certain point, and I told them, you know, really, we should go out there and try to, when we meet somebody who's not religious, try to tell them the beauty and greatness of Judaism, and if we explain to them, they'll want to come aboard and get interested. And they were challenging me, said, nah, it doesn't work, people are not interested, people have their own lives. And I said, no, it's going to work, so I'll prove it to them. So I went to somebody's house and knocked on the door and discussed with them about Judaism, somebody else's Torah, get a kid to go to yeshiva, and that's what it started from. Never dreamt would turn into something of such a organization that is today. When I was running it, was a mom and pop organization, and my first budget was about $400. I had to pay for a kid to go tuition to a yeshiva, and grew from there. But my son, Elio, he took it over and made it to a real organization. What we see today, this whole camp and all the people in the Oorah office in Lakewood, hundreds of people. So he really took it over and made it into this wonderful organization. All different programs that we have, Baruch Hashem, with TorahMates, with tuitions. We support over 600 boys and girls, and all from preschool through seminaries, and we have Torah Spot, and Shidduch service, and Rebbetzins, we have all these things. So Baruch Hashem, it's only a drop in the bucket. It's a drop in the bucket. There's some Yidden out there that don't know about Yiddishkeit, and they have no idea what it's all about. They never had any Jewish education. So here we have a big army of soldiers here. When you leave to go, keep in mind what you're getting from Oorah. Spread to other people, to your family, to your friends, to your neighbors, acquaintances, business associates. Don't be afraid to talk to them about Yiddishkeit. Get them a TorahMate, and don't feel feel, well, who am I to say? What's going to happen? They might be upset. They might think they have no business telling you about Yiddishkeit. Don't be afraid. Remember, Hashem's on your side, and He's urging all of us, try to get people involved. So if everybody here would take it upon themselves to work on 2 people this year, so we have 600 people, almost 800, almost 400 people there, almost 400. Everybody would take 2 people to talk about Yiddishkeit. Get a TorahMates. There's 800 more people, and then it could go from there. It could spread out and really make a dent and a real difference in Judaism today. So, in short, that's how it started, and we hope to go Michael Achoyel, and with everybody's participation, it will be very strong.
So does anyone have a question to ask out loud? Okay, please say your name and where you're from.
I want real questions, come on.
Hi, I'm Miriam Platt from
Come on,
Brooklyn.
warm up everyone, real questions.
How does somebody build your emunah? I mean, you have to have a certain amount of emunah, but it's not long in order to get to where we're supposed to be, right? Close. So how do I build my emunah?
How to build emunah? That's the question in its entirety. How to build emunah? Well, that's a very, very important question. Very important question. Build, of course, somebody might ask, how do I get emunah to start with? And then afterwards, how do I build on it to get it stronger after we have it? Of course, emunah covers a lot of different aspects of Yiddishkeit. Emunah, of course, the kudah and the basic emunah is believing in Hashem, emunah b'Hashem. So we'll say we have great books written on emunah. The Rambam wrote a sefer called Oorah the Guide to the Perplexed, very, very difficult sefer, philosophy, proving existence of Hashem. Other sefer were written the same way, Torah's Halchavos and Shara Yichud. So how can a plain person get emunah? You can't get it from the Chavos from the Rambam's, the Oorah the Bukhim. That's very, very difficult. Even great scholars have a hard time. And Hashem made it that every person, no matter how simple they are, and how low IQ they have, and how little knowledge they have, a person can become a maimin, a person can become a emunah in Hashem. And that is by little thinking, by thinking a little bit. Pasuk in Iyov, in Job, I don't know how many studied the book of Iyov. Iyov says, "B'bsari erza Elokai." I seek God from my flesh, from my body. Person thinking about the unbelievable body that a person has, with all its functions, all the different systems of the person's body, the nervous system, the digestive system, seeing and hearing, the reproductive system, and the skeleton, the bone system. It's unbelievable. One drop of blood. How many doctors and scientists are working on this one drop of blood? Everything that's contained in a drop of blood. The DNA, which was discovered recently, is just they scratch the surface of what the body's all about. So he sees God from his flesh. Look into a person's body. Look into the Bria. The Melch talks about looking into the sky and seeing the bodies of the planets and the stars. Wherever we look, in one leaf, it's a whole factory of how every leaf is growing, every tree, every flower, all the animals. What we see, we can't see, it's microscopic. So we just a little bit, not the big philosophers, and big people with all kinds of brains and big high IQs. Very simply, every simple person, he comes to the conclusion there has to be a Boyer, there has to be a God who created who created this. Like David Amal said, it has to be a creator, it couldn't come by itself. To believe in evolution is one of the most ridiculous theories ever to come to the world. Believing in evolution as if any of this building after a million years came by itself. It's such a silly, ridiculous idea. Only people who don't want to know the truth can even talk about it. So to believe in Hashem is not very difficult to have Amunah. And if we want to build it up, like the Chavas Lahavah says, Yibisa Hashem l'negdi samid. I see Hashem in front of my eyes all the time. Every time we walk outside, to give a thought about it, what we're looking at. The Bria Baruch Hu, beautiful trees, and everything around us, besides our body, besides everything we look at. It's full of chachma, protons and neutrons. Study science a little bit. So that builds our amunah more and more. If we study the Torah, so from the Torah itself, we see the big chachma. That's another amunah. How do we believe the Torah is Sinai? How do we know that Hashem gave the Torah? How do we know that the Jewish religion is the real religion? Every religion claims to be their real religion. Why should we say that Judaism is the real religion? That's another amunah. Amunah Hashem is one thing. Amunah and the Torah is the second thing. People don't realize there's no religion in the world who has the same Kabbalah and tradition that we have. Kabbalah of Jewish people is that, like the Chinuch says, there are millions of people in Har Sinai and Mount Sinai, millions of people who witnessed Hashem coming, giving the Torah to the Jewish people. No other religion claims that. They say that one person stood up and he started talking about his religion, what he wanted to do, and then he was a good speaker, he got people to follow him. But there's no religion that has millions of people who witnessed Hashem coming. If he wanted to change it, he would have come down the same way that he gave it, with millions of people to see. And all other religions have one or two people, or few students, disciples went around preaching false ideas about a new religion, and no other religion has that background that Jewish people have. So it's not too hard for a person to believe in Hashem and believe in the Torah. Studying the Torah itself, we see the great knowledge of the Torah, the chachma of the Torah. It's so deep and so exciting. I've spoken to people who say, well, I'm a scientist, I only believe in what I see. So I said, you are a shakra. You're lying. Because you believe in Cincinnati? Were you ever in Cincinnati before? No. You have any doubt that it exists, Cincinnati? You never saw it, but you know it's there. You know that the Civil War happened? You believe in it? Yes. Well, you weren't there. So how do you know it happened? Don't tell me you believe in what you see. People believe in what makes sense. People believe in what they accepted by the world that's gone for years, and it's a known thing. People believe in what they don't see. The same thing with the Jewish people. Of course, the Shema was in Har Sinai that we actually saw. But right now, we have this great Kabbalah, millions of people after generation, who give over the Torah the way it was in the very beginning. Anybody tries to change one little dot in the Torah, excommunicated. We can't change anything in the Torah. The way it was given, that's the way it has to be. So this is the way for a person to initially believe in Hashem and the Torah, and by studying Torah, he will get stronger and stronger in his belief in the Torah. At this point, I'd like to point, since it's mentioned, that I would like everybody that's here to make sure not to leave without a TorahMate. course, most people, I guess, have TorahMates, but those who came who don't have a TorahMate, I would strongly advise, plead, beg, and suggest that don't leave without a TorahMate, because as we've proven in the past, I'm sure over Shabbos I've heard of the great stories of TorahMates have been going on for many years by some, that this has changed people's lives, and people don't realize what Torah is all about. We didn't have a chance to study Torah on a mature, adult basis, to take the opportunity to make sure once a week to have someone to study Torah with, and through that we'll be able to get an idea what Judaism is all about, and have a love and a feeling for Judaism. Please, do not leave without a TorahMate.
Hi, Rabbi Mintz. Hi, thank you so much. We had a lot of fun. It exceeded our expectations.
Have a lot of fun? A lot of fun?
Yeah, we painted on Friday afternoon.
You went on the zip line?
I did zip line. I could tell my kids I zip line, which is a good thing. And we were painting on a Friday afternoon. No need to say anything else. And my question is that, I'm trying to grow as much as I can, and I work in...
Fantastic.
Thank you. It's very hard. So now I'm in a workplace where I work directly with people who's religious and then people who's not. I mean, every time I say, what's my obligation towards a person who says, doesn't make sense to me, and I'm not, this didn't make sense to me. Okay, but that makes sense to her. She's not driving on Shabbat. But she can eat from a restaurant that's not kosher fish or salad or something like that. And she still uses her phone on Shabbat. So every time I try to say something, I feel like it's not my place. Is it my place to say something? And what's the right thing to say to somebody who says this does not make sense?
Just going to repeat the question. The question is, what if you work with someone or you know someone that is not religious and picks and chooses what they want to do, and if they don't do certain things, is it your place to tell them to do things? Is it your place to tell them not to do things? What's the line?
Well, I think this is something we're all faced with. One way or another, we meet up with non-religious people, and the question is, what can we do? Should we do? What to do to try to impress them about Yiddishkeit, about Judaism? What I just said before, I'll say again now, which is, I think, an answer to this question also. I'll just add to that. Another question was asked very often. If I have a choice, somebody wants to do something for Yiddishkeit, for Judaism, what is something I should tell them to do? A man to put on tefillin, a woman to light Shabbos candles, different things. What would be the right thing? And I tell them, TorahMates. Why TorahMates? Very simple. You tell a woman to light candles, it's very nice, she'll light candles. Maybe she'll be inspired by seeing the candles burning. But probably it'll end over there. You have a TorahMate. You have somebody you talk to every week. You study Torah, and you get to know the person, you make a relationship, you invite them over to Shabbos. You invite them over for a Yom Tov, for a Oorah meal, for a Hanukkah. You make a relationship, and you teach the person about Torah. It's ongoing things. That's one time, once a week you do something. It's ongoing knowledge of adding to a person's knowledge about Yiddish, about Torah. And I would say, if possible, to mention to the person that you're working with, to offer them a Torah. How would you like to study Torah once a week? You tried? Doesn't work?
No.
Oh, you tried? She said no?
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
What?
It didn't make sense to her.
Didn't make any sense.
No.
Okay. But don't give up. I mean, I experienced that also. So I told a person, well, how about just for 15 minutes a week? No, 5 minutes. Come on, 5 minutes. Most people are embarrassed to say this. Okay, 5 minutes, do it for 5 minutes. Usually people will agree. And 5 minutes turns into 15 minutes. But even just to get a few minutes, try them to study Torah. If that doesn't work, don't give up right away. Keep suggesting. You never know what's doing in a person's mind. You never know. Think what. I'll give an example about that. We have a program that we have young men going out on Hanukkah and looking for electric menorahs in the window. We see an electric menorah, they go knocking on the door, and they say, I see a Jewish family, maybe you'd like to have some type of connection, maybe send a child to a Jewish school, or maybe like a TorahMate, or whatever, depending who we're talking about. So one of our young men who went someplace in New Jersey, some far away from any Jewish shul or any connection, and they knocked on the person's door, and they opened up the door. They said to him, you know, for the last 3 years, people knocked on my door and said, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. And I made up my mind. If somebody comes this year, I can open the door and tell him to come. So he knocked on the door and came in. That man today is a Shem Shabbos. He learns, he goes to shul, and became a So my point is, you never know what's doing in that person's mind. You ask him once, twice, he might, by the 5th time you ask them, they might say, okay, I'll try it out. Never give up to think, well, I better not mention it anymore. But besides that, you might bring something to them to read, some kind of a book to read about Yiddishkeit, or you might give them some shmur matzahs, or give them some salach and purim, sort of to soften them up a little bit and get them a feeling of Yiddishkeit and some kind of idea what's going on. So you should try always to bring some kind of Yiddishkeit into their life. And eventually, it's almost guaranteed that it will bring further interest on their part. As long as you don't give up, not to push, and not to get upset with them, and not to be too overpowering to them. Just in a very simple, nice way. And after a while, it's just about guaranteed something's going to come out of it. So don't give up.
Hi, my name is Brandy. I'm from Brooklyn. I have a question. So having challenges in one life can make someone have like their mood become shaky. So is it normal? And what can one do to have connection stronger during challenging time in their lives?
Okay, a 2-part question. Correct me if it's not right. Is it normal if someone is going through a lot of challenges for their emunah to become shaky? And how do you strengthen your emunah when you're going through those challenges? Is that right?
Well, that's certainly, we all face that sometimes in our lives. Challenges which makes our emunah shaky, but we have to realize that that's what strengthens our emunah. If we wouldn't have challenges, we wouldn't have an opportunity to think and to realize and to go over that which we assumed as a given, and now we have to apply it in actual life, and this is what gives us a stronger feeling of emunah. So we shouldn't be upset. We have problems, and emunah sometimes, HaKadosh, why are you doing this, HaKadosh? Why is this happening? Why do I have to go through this? Then we have to think, well, what are we doing in this world? What Hashem put us here for? He put us here for challenges. That's what makes us greater. That makes us higher, and a higher level of emunah in Hashem, when we have challenges, I'll say over a very important chazal, what the rabbis tell us on the pasuk. If you remember, in the beginning of creation, on the sixth day, it says, Hashem saw everything that He created. At the end of the 6 days of creation, the time Ma'od was very good. Was very good. So Chazal said a very strange comment. Time Ma'od, very good. Time ze yetzer time. That is the good in the world, in the person. His yetzer time, his feelings and his will strive to do good. We have it within ourselves. Ma'oi ze yetzer hara. Very good. That's the bad part of a person. Hashem put into a person. The pullings from within to do bad. The pullings without pulling us to do bad. That's very good. People look at that, what are they saying? What does that mean? It doesn't make any sense. Think about it. What it means is very simple, we said before. The point. If a person we put in this world without any bad, he'd be good. Hashem's good, creators were good. So we come to the world good, and we'd leave the world good. What makes us very good? Challenges. The pulling and pushing to do bad, to do evil. And we have to resist and fight against it. And think, and act, and be strong. That lifts us up. You take a child in the class, a very bright child. You put him in a class with children that are not bright. He won't gain, he won't grow. Because he's above the class, has no challenge, and the teacher has to teach him the level of the children that are not so bright, and he's not challenged. He won't gain very much in that class. Put him in a class where a bunch of kids who are very bright, high IQs, he's challenged, so then he's going to use his brain and work hard and will excel and become greater. This world is a world of challenges. That's why Hashem put us in. He wants us to be very good. He put evil in the world. Difficulties for us to stand up against the Yetzer Hara, the desires, different striving that Yetzer Hara tries to do to get us distracted from what we should be doing, we should be thinking, and we have to fight against it and work hard. And therefore, these challenges make us very good. Time Yetzer time. Very good. That's the Yetzer Hara. That's evil. That makes us very good in this world. So a person should not get discouraged. We have to go through different challenges, and we have to work on ourselves to believe in Hashem and realize, go over the whole reason why we're here, and why He put us here, and why He gives us problems, and it becomes more real and more part of our life that we know what we're doing here, we know what we're accomplishing, and that's what makes us grow and become better. So we shouldn't get upset. Sometimes we have these challenges and sometimes the Munah gets a little shaky, because then we have to think strong and bring our Munah back again. But when we come back, we're even bigger believers than we were before the challenge.
Hi.
We don't need to start anymore.
My name is Diana from
We don't need to
Queens, New
start
York.
anymore.
I have two questions.
So where are you?
Diana. Yariashana, Queens, New York. Basically, I have two questions, like I said. I have extended family who I used to be very close to back when I was a young girl and I wasn't religious. Now, our families went very different ways. So their family is very modern, kind of affiliated, but really completely on the other end. Our family is more and more into Oorah, growing, doing our best, but they're also very good people. They're very, very good people, and I try to connect to them. I feel like all these years, I want to grow with them, and I feel like we're very connected, and I feel like our souls are together, but we are going apart. So I called my family members, and they said, why don't we get together? And I was talking about spirituality, and they said, you're so different, and we're so different. I don't see us coming together. So I told them, look, I'm not an alien, and we're just people. Why don't we get together and let's do something? But in the other hand, in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, if we get together, I teach my kids to be a certain way, and they're very different. I dress a very different way, and they do dress different. They're really good people. But is it really appropriate for us to get together with like my kids will look like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like, Mom, but you told me this is not how it goes. They may not want to go to a kosher restaurant, but I said, hey, there's plenty of kosher restaurants that are amazing. So again, my question is, what would be a good way to reconnect my family with their family and bring them closer to Hashem?
Okay. Speaker is for self-explanatory.
I think it was pretty clear, but she has extended family that is much less religious than her own family, and she wants to stay close with them. They're good people, and she wants the families to stay connected. She doesn't want her children to get influenced or ask questions about the other family. Why do they do this and we don't do that? What would be a good way to keep the families connected and not have any ill feelings on either end?
I think the way you explain things, I think you're scaring them off. You're scaring them. Because when you talk to them, you speak for spirituality, talk about Torah, and that's too much for them. You have to be able to talk a little bit at their level. Talk about the kids, talk about problems with the kids, talk about food, about cooking, about recipes, about what women talk to each other, not only about Torah, because you're scaring them off. They think this lady, you're in a different planet, and you're totally different from them, and they feel there's no common ground between you. You have to show them that you're in this world, that you have also children, and you have problems with children. I mean, big problem, whatever, small problem, big problem. Normal problems with your kids. The nachas, chachmas that they say, talk about the normal things that they should feel that they're able to converse with you and have some common ground between you. If you get together with them, also, don't talk about Torah the whole time. Don't talk about it at all, about Torah things. You being there, you're the biggest Torah that they can swallow. You don't have to say a word. Just showing you cover your hair, going with the way you look. They see right away, you're screaming to them about Yiddishkeit, about Torah, and they know your whole life is that, and the way to have a hashpah influence on them is by just being normal and be able to converse with them and talk about things on their level also. Don't talk about religion. Keep away from religion, because you're the biggest religion in their life. They know what you represent, and little by little, you'll be able to have an influence on them. Of course, again, TorahMates be the best thing, get them started. But now, you're saying, how about your children? Your children come together with them, you feel see a different kind of lifestyle. Well, we have to be able to train our children, because we're living in a world most people are not religious. So what do we tell our children? They're going to come up with this challenge sooner or later, and how are we supposed to explain to them that we're living this type of life and they're living that type of life? We have to know whether it's the family or friends or neighbors, they're going to come up sooner or later, they're going to meet such children like that. We have to tell the children that, listen, Baruch Hashem, you go to a Jewish school and you study Torah and you're close to Hashem. No, but these people, they don't know what Torah is all about. They don't know what Judaism is all about. And we hope that in the future maybe they'll change and they'll know what a Jew is supposed to do, how they're supposed to live. You bring your children, tell them that they're living the real life. The other children are not educated, families are not educated, and you feel bad for them that they don't have a Torah life. You give your children the feeling that this is the real way a person is supposed to live. A Jewish person is with Torah values. Not everybody has it, but we're hoping that in the future that they will have it. So you'll have to look at them in such a way that we feel bad for them. They're very fine people, but they don't know Torah yet, but the time will come that they will. So they won't be influenced a lot if you tell them in such a way. Because you're telling them that they're doing the wrong thing, they're not keeping Shabbat, they're not eating kosher, whatever they're not doing, but you'll feel bad for them. You tell children you feel bad for them, because that's not the way the Torah person is supposed to act. So they won't be influenced by them, and eventually, if you have a good relationship with your family, they will start coming around. But can't scare them off with Judaism, because if you talk about it too much, they feel guilty, and they feel they have no common grounds. This is a big problem. A lot of our young people, boys and girls, will go to Israel to study, and they come back religious, and their parents are not religious. And a lot of them make the big mistake by surprising their parents with all kinds of ideas. And the parents are just overwhelmed. They want them to throw out all the dishes and keep Shabbat and all different mitzvahs. The parents are just overwhelmed and they get very upset, and it causes a lot of conflict between children and parents. We have to know how to handle them. We have to realize that there's something they're not used to, and we have to be very gentle and little by little to bring them into Yiddishkeit, but not to throw it at them and make them feel like they're terrible by not keeping things. They didn't study, they didn't know about it, they were brought up that way, and we have to be very slow in the process of parents digesting the new lifestyle of the children. The same type of thing. The parents are scared off. They don't know how to handle it. And this is a very mistake some of the young people do. So they have to slowly bring into Shabbos in their own way, because they have to keep Shabbos themselves, the children, but not to force the parents to get angry at them or push things too far, and that makes things worse than it was before. You want to make the parents feel, or the family feel, that Yiddishkeit is something good, it's enjoyable, it's something that brings families together, doesn't bring them, separate them. And this is very important for them to get the right feeling of Yiddishkeit and not get a negative taste of Yiddishkeit right in the beginning. Right? Look at that, they become religious and they're breaking up the family. You have to go very slow and gentle with them and try to be very positive and see the nice things about Yiddishkeit, and not to be too overwhelming in the beginning.
Thank you, Rabbi Mintz. I'm Jolie. Right. Thank you, Rabbi. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thank you for allowing us to have this lovely assemblage of very of wonderful women and new friends. My question is regarding the concept which I learned last night of mechilas, which I understand means forgiveness. I'd like to understand, what is the obligation of a Jew to forgive? And what if the forgiveness is difficult because the pain is still raw? So you may make the gesture of forgiveness, but it really isn't embedded in your heart. Where's the sincerity? Are there steps to finding forgiveness? Are we obligated to it? Thank you.
We're supposed to forgive people. If you still have that ill feeling towards the person in your heart, you're still very upset. What are the steps in order to find true forgiveness, to forgive the person if you're still hurt inside? What's the obligation towards mechila, forgiveness?
Well, the general question that you're talking about has one way, one approach. There's such a thing that a person should not forgive, but I don't think you're talking about that. There are some people talk about they want to forgive the Rishonim for the Holocaust. Forgive, such a wonderful thing to forgive. And that certainly is not to forgive for them, because all that does is make people who are wicked have no guilty conscience because they'll be forgiven. But you're not talking about a thing like that. No, the Jewish people within themselves, somebody did something against them and they're upset about it, and it's hard for them to forgive them because they have pain within, and it's hard to forgive. Forgiving is very important. We just read in the Torah a few weeks ago that the Jewish people were not nice to Moshe Rabbeinu, and they spoke against him with not nice accusations, and then they came back to him for forgiveness. Rashi brings Malamed. It teaches that a person should forgive others. Moshe Rabbeinu forgave them, even though they were not acting the proper way towards him.
Hi, I'm Chaim Mintz. Friday we had the dueling rabbis. It's actually a very interesting topic, whether or not we should be showing our Jewish pride. And one of the things in the factors in is that walking the streets, whether you should be showing your tzitzis or not. It was a little bit disturbing because, I mean, I know as always thought as a kid, they should be always so proud of your Yiddishkeit, and you should be, show it. So I'm just like wondering, like, how much of our pride are we really supposed to show? Like, if we're supposed to go to the path that we're supposed to have, as from women, always looking at show, we're really wearing a sheitel because it's not always the knees. You should be wearing a nice head covering, but the head coverings are a lot more. Make people aware that we're from Yid. So, I mean, you see, it's like a big difference. Someone wearing a sheitel, you can't necessarily tell that they're from person, but someone's wearing a hat or a tichel, you can totally tell that they stick out a lot. So where do we hold in the factor of our pride as a Jew? Where do we stand basically?
How much should a person flaunt their Judaism in public? And what's the line that you draw? How much should you have the tzitzis showing that everyone sees you? The Jewish head coverings, should it be very obvious to the world that you're Jewish? Should you try to blend in more with society?
Well, that's a very good question. The different opinions about that. The Muskal Rishon, and the first reaction to the question is that Jewish people, when we're in Golus, we should not show our Judaism outwardly, because since we're living amongst non-Jewish people, it tends to get them upset that the Jews are so free and they're showing the Judaism in public. And we know that non-Jews don't like Jews too much, a lot of them. And just like it's a red cloth in front of a bull, it gets very upset and gets excited and upset about them. So that was the sort of the feeling of this matter for many years, especially in other countries. For instance, my Hanukkah, I'm sure your parents and grandparents used to light Hanukkah in the house, out of the window. In Europe, they would never light Hanukkah in the window because they didn't want to go to see keeping Hanukkah in front of their eyes. They used to try to keep things quiet because it used to incite them and get them all upset. So when the first European Jews came to America, they kept the to light the Hanukkah in the house and put it in the window. The next generation since we live in a different type of society, and especially because we have some Mishigoyim in the world today, do all kinds of crazy things. So Jews do crazy things to them also. Doesn't bother people anymore. So they're Jews, they're this and they're that, all kinds of weird people around. So it's so used to weird things in the world. So it doesn't seem to bother the non-Jewish people too much anymore. On the other hand, there's some person living in a place where there are Jewish people and not religious people. In a way, it's good for them to see that Judaism is alive, and we're practicing Judaism, and it's not a chas v'sholom, but dead religion. A lot of Jewish people, millions of Jewish people, tens of thousands of Jewish people are practicing Judaism, and it makes some people, gives them a certain pride, a certain confidence that they themselves were not feeling that way. But look at these Jews walking, and they're so proud and so happy. So it can have a very good effect on other Jewish people. I have my son, one of the children was born on Yom Kippur, lived in Lakewood, and he went to the hospital with his kittel and his talis. He ran there to see his wife. The baby was born. There's no way back to the base medrash to daven, and the car stops and says, "Can I give you a ride?" So he said, "Today's Yom Kippur." He said, "Oh yeah, today's Yom Kippur. I never drive in Yom Kippur." He started apologizing, but today there was some reason that he got him so guilty. They told him it was Yom Kippur, and he saw his Jewish the talis, but he didn't realize not to drive on Yom Kippur. So it gave him a feeling he had to apologize. So if he wouldn't have stopped, still wouldn't have given that some kind of guilt. That look at these Jews keeping Yom Kippur, and why should I be driving and not driving? So it can give to some people a feeling of Jewish pride or Jewish guilt, whatever we're going to call it, both of them together, and could have a good effect on them. So I really think that there has to be judged in the section the person is living, where he's living, and I don't think you can give an answer, yes or no, to the question. I think it all depends on the circumstances. But there is an argument to say don't, and an argument to say do, and it's I think circumstances might be able to give the right answer to.
Okay, thank you. Again, Rabbi Mintz will be here until 12:45. If anyone would like a very short personal meeting with Rabbi Mintz, you can come.
So thank you everybody for this opportunity. Asktherabbi, everybody, everything good. And again, thanks to the ones who are behind this whole great gathering. Thank you very much.